Greetings, music lovers. This is my first attempt at making a record collector video. I've been watching a lot of these the past 12 months, and I thought it was time for MGK Boston, that's me, Mike, a fellow music lover, to share my first theme video. So today I'd like to focus on three bands from my teen years in the 80s. No particular order. All three were much loved, and I've held on to all these records over all these years, and I thought we'd revisit again three of these acts from the decade we all know and love, the 1980s. So without further ado, the Chameleons, also known as the Chameleons UK, there was an issue with another American band, copyright infringement, whatever. They had to change the name from the Chameleons to the Chameleons UK, as the Chameleons was already taken in the United States. So this is their debut, Script of the Bridge, came out in 83. Again, they're from Manchester, England. Up the Down Escalator, Monkey Land, Don't Fall. I mean, this plays like a greatest hits album. I mean, there's not a bad song on it. Mark Burgess was a brilliant songwriter, just a really excellent band. My personal opinion, today's Interpol, for example, if you're familiar with them, I'm sure they would count the Chameleons as one of their main influences. The follow-up to Script of the Bridge, What Does Anything Mean, basically. So you can see really cool artwork, and this is a gatefold. There's the band inside. And yeah, again, really solid, front to back. Every song is good. It's just, if you're a fan of that post-punk era, I wouldn't call it new wave. Again, the post-punk term gets thrown around. It's just, yeah, it's really great. Wouldn't call it happy music, but it certainly can be peppy at points, and it's exciting, and definitely representative of the period and the musical style. This is a 3-song EP called Singing Rule Britannia, which was on the second effort, I believe. Pleasure and Pain also on this, an alternate version from the debut. Again, a 3-song EP. Very good. British import. Their third and final release, and arguably their masterpiece, Script of the Bridge, Strange Times. Mad Jack is the opening track. It's just a blistering song. Swamp Thing, of course, was their, I guess you could call it, I wouldn't call it a breakthrough hit or anything by any means, but charted on alternative charts in the United States, mostly college radio. Certainly nothing commercial or grandiose. They weren't playing stadiums. Club shows in the United States and Canada, strictly. There you have it. Strange Times. This is also a CD. Now, I know a lot of the record collectors out there on the YouTubers don't show CDs, but I'm going to be one of these. I'm a bit of a hybrid. If I have it on CD and it's something special, I will include it. This is a bootleg recording from, I believe, 1986, live in Toronto at the RPM Club down on the old Queen's Quay by the lakeshore. I used to go there quite a bit myself around this time. Didn't go to this show, unfortunately, but this is a really good recording for a bootleg. If you can find it, yeah, jump on it. I found this at a store, actually in Boston, ironically. What are you going to do? There it was. I grabbed it. Mark Burgess, after the band broke up after the Strange Times LP, but Geffen kept him on. He was a talent, and he did this side project after the Chameleons called It's the Sun and the Moon. I don't know, the French writing on the front, Le Soleil for the sun, and of course on the back, La Lune for the moon. It's really not very good. I was expecting this to be great when it came out around 1988, 89, after the Chameleons breakup, but I was severely disappointed. I've kept it just for nostalgia. It's in mint condition. I could probably sell it and you know, get something for it on Discogs, but again, sentimentality sometimes takes over and you just can't part with things. Next band. Again, I'm featuring 3 today from the period. So, Simple Minds from Scotland. I'm sure you're all familiar with them from the period. I don't have the early releases, Reel to Reel Cacophony, for example, Sons in Fascination, Empires in Dance, or Sisters, Feelings Call, but I do have some 12-inch singles. from those early albums from 1978 through 82. This was released in late 82. This is the one that really caught my ear. It's hard to see with the light, but Someone, Somewhere in Summertime, of course, is on this. Colors Fly and Catherine Wheel. The title track, New Gold Dream. I mean, this is just really, really excellent. Again, highly recommended. They did this is a live recording right after the Sparkle in the Rain album, which I'll talk about in a moment. This is just like a limited edition. It's only got 4 songs on it. Glittering Prize, Celebrate, Promised You a Miracle from New Gold Dream. Book of Brilliant Things is on this from Sparkle in the Rain. Again, this was released in 87 but recorded in 85 live in Glasgow at a venue called the Barrowlands. Not familiar, but yeah, nice live recording. I'm a big fan of live recordings when I can get them, and I will be featuring another live album from Simple Minds. And of course, Sparkle in the Rain was the follow-up to New Gold Dream. I have this on vinyl somewhere. I reorganized all my records by genre, and it's misfiled somewhere. I looked for it for about 15 minutes this afternoon, and I just got frustrated and said, well, I'll just show the CD. Same difference. Of course, Up on the Catwalk, Book of Brilliant Things, Waterfront, Speed Your Love to Me, just East at Easter. I mean, that's the whole side A is great. I've just recited. And of course, they always do an instrumental track. Simple Minds were known for this on their full-length albums. This track was called Shake Off the Ghosts, instrumental, really atmospheric, nice, not too synthy or new wavy, but yeah, really, really good stuff. Following that, there's a live album here. This is a double set recorded in Paris, France, summer of 1986, I believe. This features tracks pretty much from New Gold Dream forward. Some of the regrettable stuff I can't stand, really, from the one album, Once Upon a Time, that came after Sparkle in the Rain. Everybody knows Don't You Forget About Me from the John Hughes film. Breakfast Club, that's on here, of course. But there are some really nice moments on here. Book of Brilliant Things is on here. Alive and Kicking, I didn't mind, from the Once Upon a Time album. Again, Promised You a Miracle's on it here. Waterfront Live is always really, really good. I believe they did that when they were at Live Aid. Yeah, really, really good stuff. And speaking of Live Aid, I'm sure Jim Kerr, not a day goes by, lead vocalist Jim Kerr, where he does not regret his wardrobe choices at the Live Aid concert. If you don't believe me, look it up. Those pants, they need to be burned. Here, speaking of which, here's a shot of Jim Kerr on the stage at Live Aid. They played the Philadelphia venue. Everybody from that period should remember in 1985 the dual concerts that day in July to raise money for Ethiopia, organized by Bob Geldof and Midjur from Ultravox. Put the festival together. So Simple Minds, for whatever reason, played in the United States that day, and that's a shot from the stage in Philadelphia. Alive and Kicking, 12-inch single. And the photography is actually Anton Corbin got a film credit for that. Brilliant photographer. And I have a few singles here as well from the period. It's The American. I think this was on Sons and Fascination. League of Nations, the instrumental track on the B-side. Again, they do a lot of instrumentals, usually as B-sides on the 12-inch singles, Simple Minds did. And usually one instrumental per full-length album release. I would, if Virgin ever decided to put out a compilation of just their instrumentals, I mean, I would totally buy it. I really like that stuff. Of course, there's Sweat and Bullet. There's a young Jim Kerr on the cover. This is 1981, I believe, also from Sons and Fascination. There it is. A couple of extra tracks on the B-side. And this was probably their biggest, more well-known early release, a track called Love Song. And This Earth That You Walk Upon, B-side. Yeah, really great. Look this up on YouTube. You'll enjoy it. It's a terrific track. Really representative of the period. Here's another single, 12-inch single. Speed Your Love to Me. This was on Sparkle in the Rain. This features an alternate version. And again, on the B-side, an instrumental track called Baseline. Nice stuff. And as I mentioned before, the release that came after Sparkle in the Rain, Once Upon a Time, did feature Don't You Forget About Me from the Breakfast Club soundtrack. This is a pretty good version, actually. I mean, I've heard this song, of course, a million times. But once in a while you hear it and the lyrics just come back to you because you've heard it so many times, but it's totally listenable when you're in the mood. And again, on the B-side, Brass Band in Africa, that's an instrumental. Also very worthwhile. And lastly, The Cult. There they are. So this is a live album. The Cult were based in the UK. However, as a side note, lead vocalist Ian Astbury, here with guitarist Billy Duffy. Ian Astbury actually lived a few years in Hamilton, Ontario. His father was a merchant marine, and he was stationed there for a few years in Ian's teen years. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit of trivia as I grew up in Ontario, Canada. Just a side note there. So this is a live album. Their debut was called Dreamtime. I don't have it. I'm not a big fan of the debut, actually. But this it stretches out nicely live on this. I believe this has 8 cuts on it. God's Zoo, Bad Medicine are really good. Dreamtime was the title track. There's the boys there. Yeah, great hair, great hair. What are you gonna say about that? Of course, the follow-up and their breakthrough, if you will, Love, recorded and released in 1985. This is like one of those that plays like a greatest hits album. Every song is really good. Opens with Nirvana, Big Neon Glitter's on here, Love, the title track, Phoenix, Hollow Man, of course Revolution, Rain. I mean, it's really, really excellent. And again, the gatefold sleeve. There's the guys right there. Sorry about the light, the afternoon sunlight drifting in here. So that's the Love album. And being a bit of a completist with this band, of course, I have my CD copy. And then also an interesting divergence with the band, in between the Love album and their follow-up, Electric, they were in the studio, in the Manor Studios in Oxfordshire, England, recording, getting ready for the Electric album. And they were working with the producer from, their earlier producer, the name escapes me, from the Love album. And it carried over their kind of gothy rock sound, if you will. The term goth gets thrown around a lot at that time. These guys were no Bauhaus. When you think of goth or Sisters of Mercy, but more of a rock outfit. But still, it's interesting because these songs on this is a 5-song EP. I think it's only available on compact disc. Features all these songs: Love Removal Machine, Wildflower, Electric Ocean, Outlaw, and Bad Fun, all to be included on the next album, Electric. However, you're hearing them with the production of the sound from the Love album. So it's certainly when you listen to this, and then hear it this way with none other than the American producer Rick Rubin had stepped in at this point. And at the time, Rick Rubin was working with bands like Slayer. He produced the first Beastie Boys album, Licensed to Ill, and was known for a real hard rock aesthetic, but a real devil in the studio, just really. So the sound, they totally changed it up and went for definitely a more traditional, straight up, balls out, hard rock sound. Even Billy Duffy, he changed his look here. He's got the Harley Davidson t-shirt now, and he's going full on, hairband here with the hair. Went from a new wave look to more straight up biker, this whole look, but it translates really well. There's really not a bad song on this either. I mean, if I have to hear Love Removal Machine again, I could probably do without that. I've heard it one too many times. Born to Be Wild's a Steppenwolf cover on this album. I think they should have left that out. But when you're playing the whole album through, Born to Be Wild doesn't sound bad. It's not great. So there's that. But Outlaw, Memphis Hip Snake, Peace Dog, Speaking of Devils, Little Devil. A lot of good hits on this album. And again, a real hard rock sound, total departure from Love, but it works. It really works for the band. The follow-up, again, At this point, this is called Sonic Temple. This is about 1988, I believe. Yeah, 1988. This was, again, more of the same of the electric sound. You know, they're all here. Firewoman, American Horse, Edie Chow Baby, Sweet Soul Sister. Again, not a bad song on this. I don't have this on record, or on vinyl rather, just due to the fact that at this point, I was away at university and I was switching over to all compact discs. I kind of abandoned buying records at this point for probably until the early 2000s when I started buying records again. So I have amassed quite a few CDs during that period. When I make some other YouTube videos, I'll probably feature some of that stuff. Again, I'm not going to be a vinyl purist here. I'm going to show CDs if I find them interesting, and I think you might find interesting. I will include them in my videos. So anyway, again, Sonic Temple, and I saw this tour actually in Ottawa that winter, that December. John Bonham had a band at the time. Jason Bonham, not John Bonham, son of John Bonham, Jason Bonham of Led Zeppelin fame. It was called Bonham. They were the opening act. They were pretty loud, and I was in general admission at the time. You could still have general admission, standing room only in the arenas, and it was super crowded, super packed, super hot. The irony when we walk outside after, it was minus 20, freezing, deadly Ottawa cold, but definitely still riding high from that. A wicked concert. Just, that's one of my favorite concert memories, was that tour. Really incredible. The follow-up was less satisfying, if you will. Ceremony. At this point, the drummer, they went through drummers more than Spinal Tap, these guys. But the most memorable drummer was Matt Sorum. He was on the Electric album and Sonic Temple, and he left for a band you might have heard of called Guns N' Roses. Yes. The troubled Steven Adler was booted, and Matt Sorum came in and left the cult and moved on to bigger things with the Guns, and that worked out really well for him at the end of the day. So speaking of the end of the day, that's the end of my first video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If I could recommend a couple of other YouTube channels for you if you found this interesting. The Cheap and Cheerful Record Collector, Jonathan, his videos are very informative, especially if you like jazz or blues. He's kind of an authority on it, in my opinion. Does a great job with his videos. Norman Maslov, he makes longer videos, but he's very entertaining, clever, funny, very enjoyable. And of course, Billy Hurst, who's recently opened a record store. He's over in the Midwest. I think he's in Illinois. Forgive me, Billy, if I got that wrong. Riverbend Records is his channel, and it's really excellent. Fun guy. Yeah, so anyway, my first attempt today. I hope you found this entertaining. And if I get some likes on YouTube, I just may make a few more in the coming weeks. Thanks a lot.